The wind howled across the snow-buried valley like a wounded spirit searching for a lost home, carrying with it the bitterness of another. Winter that had settled over St. Mercy Orphanage, a tired wooden building standing far from town, half forgotten by the world and almost entirely forgotten by the season of Christmas joy. Inside its creaking walls, the children moved quietly, bundled in thin donated sweaters, trying to distract themselves from the truth that this year, just like the year before, and the year before that, there would be no Christmas meal, no roast turkey, no sweet bread, no warm soup simmering on the stove, nothing but hope stretched thin like the last candle wick burning low. Sister Miriam, the caretaker, walked from room to room with forced cheerfulness, telling stories of miracles she desperately prayed for, even though she had spent the last of the orphanage's funds on firewood and medicine, leaving nothing for a holiday feast. The children pretended to believe her, smiling with lips that trembled slightly, whispering their dreams into their blankets as they watched snowflakes drift past the frosted window panes. Deep down, though, every child felt the same ache. That Christmas, for them, would again be just another day of survival. Yet beyond the frozen trees, someone watched the orphanage with quiet understanding, someone who had come and gone through these lands for years without leaving more than footprints that vanished with the next wind. His name was not known to the local townsfolk, though rumors of him spread like half-believed legends. A lone Apache wanderer, a man wrapped in hide and silence, carrying memories heavier than the winter sky. They said he traveled with no home and no tribe left, that he kept to the wild, that he never spoke to strangers. Yet he was known for helping the helpless when no one else would. And this winter, as he stood on the ridge overlooking the orphanage, watching the smoke struggle upward from the chimney, something in him stirred, something old and painful. The memory of a child he once lost, a child whose spirit he honored every year by giving where giving was needed most. So he descended the ridge slowly, touching the totems hanging from his belt, whispering a prayer to the Great Spirit for guidance. Meanwhile, inside the orphanage, Sister Miriam gathered the children in the main hall, where a tiny Christmas tree, bare except for paper stars, made from old worksheets, stood bravely near the cracked window. She told them they would still celebrate, even if they only had stories and songs to share, because Christmas was not about food or gifts, but about hearts, staying warm even when the world was cold. The children tried to sing, but their voices were thin from hunger, and the fire flickered weakly as if unsure whether to stay alive. In the distance, a shadow moved through the storm, carrying bundles wrapped in deer hide, moving with the silent grace of a warrior who had learned to walk without alerting even the wind. As he approached the orphanage, he remembered another Christmas long ago, when his own family was taken by sickness and winter's cruelty, leaving behind only a father's promise to protect other children if fate ever allowed him the chance. Tonight that promise burned in his chest. The children inside didn't hear the door quietly unlatch, didn't see the rugged figure step into the entryway, face half hidden beneath a fur-lined hood, leaving behind no voice, no name, only the warmth of intention. He placed his gifts down carefully, sacks of cornmeal, flour, dried meat, beans, spices, jars of honey, pots of stew he had prepared over 3 nights, and a bundle of blankets stitched with traditional patterns of protection. Then, just as silently as he had entered, he slipped back into the storm, but not before pausing to look at the children, asleep on the floor near the dying fire. "For you," he whispered, his voice barely a breath. "For the spirits of winter who watch over little ones." And then he was gone. When dawn broke on Christmas morning, the orphanage children woke not to the cold silence they expected, but to Sister Miriam's gasp of disbelief as she discovered the mountain of food, blankets, and handmade toys carved from wood, each marked with the same Apache symbols of blessing. The children rushed toward the miracle, their eyes wide with wonder and joy, whispering excitedly about Santa, an angel, or a warrior of the old world who still believed in them. For the first time in years, St. Mercy Orphanage glowed with life, laughter, and hope as Sister Miriam prepared the largest Christmas meal the children had ever seen. Yet she could not help but step outside into the morning snow, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious Savior who had done what no one else had cared enough to do. But the only sign of him was a single feather tied to the orphanage door, an Apache feather, carrying the blessing of love, memory, and protection. And so, her heart swelling, she whispered into the wind, Whoever you are, thank you. Far away on the ridge, the Apache warrior smiled faintly, knowing he had kept his promise once more, and knowing that somewhere, his child's spirit smiled too.